we certainly hope everyone has a fantastic 4th of July, Independence Day
No, you
tomorrow and over the
don't. No,
weekend.
you do not wish everybody to have a fancy nothing. Come
Well,
on.
you're right. There are some people I hope have a horrible weekend.
Well, they must be related to you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to an all-new Wrestling's Road Trip After Hours. I'm your host, Mac Davis, and that, of course, is Mr. WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long.
And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to get my light on here.
I was wondering what you're doing. He waited. We had that entire opening. He could have done that, but no. He's going to sit here and mess with it while we go live. We're trying to get, by the way,
There we go. I got it.
Yeah, now just get the camera on you. There you go. There you old peanut head.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, look here, Teddy. The last time we talked on the show last week, I was telling you I was getting ready to go in for that surgery for my shoulder and tricep and bicep. Brother, you know me. I hate taking pain medication. I don't trust it. It just scares the hell out of me. So I'm one of those guys that I'll just deal with the pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. They gave me a nerve block in the arm. When I got that nerve block, I was like, oh man, I'm doing good. Yeah, all's good here now. And it ended up that nerve block only lasts about maybe 48 hours if you're lucky. And when it wore off, brother, those pain pills came into play real quick. It's the only way I could get any sleep. I went almost a day and a half with zero sleep. And finally, I just took one of the pain pills because I was tired.
You got to have them, man. I'm telling you, that pain is unreal.
Absolutely incredible. But it's better now. Thank goodness. It's just got to take time to heal. And Bill Apter's wife, by the way, she had the same surgery done on her shoulder. And they called me up in the middle of the night last night because she was in a lot of pain. I said, it's that nerve block's wearing off, but he's having to play nursemaid for his wife. So I feel sorry for my poor wife. I keep going in there, like, can you help me get the shirt on? Can you help me get up, get some deodorant under my arm? Because I couldn't lift my arm hard enough. And oh my God, it's just, bleh. Well, we were hoping we'd have Herb Simmons in here with us tonight, but Herb's having a hard time getting connected through the link we sent, and it's the same link that Teddy's using, so I'm not exactly sure what issue he may be having.
Well, I think Herb is, I think he's relapsed.
Yeah, no, don't say that. Look, I do want to say something. I was hoping he'd be in here when I did this, but I do want to make an announcement when it comes.
Just tell him to put the bottle down, Herb. If you relapse, just be truthful with yourself, okay? And just call us after you get about 3 or 4 more in. Then I know you're ready.
I do want to mention, we go to the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame and the SICW Fan Fest every year since its beginning, and it's been a fantastic family of people that we're there with every year, including Herb Simmons, who I was hoping, like I say, to have on the show. And I just heard and got the announcement last week, and I wanted to make the announcement when he was with us live. But I got to do it now because it's already public anyhow. But Teddy, you may not have seen this, and a lot of people may not know, but look at this. Mr. Herb Simmons, let's say, it's not sitting up there right. We can't get it. Hang on for a minute. Hang on. I'll get this right. Teddy, this is driving me crazy here. There we go. Here's the guy. Herb Simmons. He is going into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. He has been entered in for the class of 2026. And Teddy, I can't think of a better person when it comes to the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. What a better person to go in? The guy who basically, keeps that era of wrestling alive.
Well, he's put everybody else in, so why not do it for himself? And I just want to say congratulations to him. I mean, you couldn't give it to a better person. One of the greatest and nicest promoters that I've ever known, and a guy that's always been fair. You know what I mean? It's a guy that you could trust. And
Yes.
There ain't too many of them in this business, but Herb Simmons is one of them. So congratulations to you, Herb.
Also, let me make mention that we had a T-shirt giveaway. I didn't have the picture last week. I do have it this week, and I want to share that with you as well. This is one of our T-shirt winners where you ask questions later on the show, and if Teddy chooses your question as the question of the week, you get a free Road Trip After Hours T-shirt. And this is one of our recent winners, and this is Mr. Buddy. And Buddy with his Road Trip After Hours T-shirt. I understand he loves that shirt, and we're happy that he won.
Well, we love Mr. Buddy.
Oh, we do. But Buddy is somebody that if you're in the southern region for wrestling and independent wrestling, Buddy is the guy that it seems like he's at every show. His mother gets him around to these shows and lets him enjoy professional wrestling, on the independent level. And I've seen him even at WWE shows. I think he's going to as well.
Yeah.
So really great fan and happy to see him wearing that shirt. All right, Teddy, since Herb just messaged me saying he still can't get in, so we'll have to hopefully get him on another show. And
Well, we can just kind of mention it. We was wanting to really get Herb Simmons in to talk to us about there's something going around now about Abdullah the Butcher has written a book, and he teamed up with somebody, and the person that he teamed up with to write the book, I think they went on and start selling the book and making money off the book, and they're not giving Abdullah not one penny of it. And so Herb knows a lot about that, and he was going to come in and tell us about it. So if we can't get him this week, maybe we'll get him next week, or either maybe we can get him to record something for us and tell us a little bit about it.
yeah, because that's unfortunate when somebody takes advantage of somebody else in that way, especially you using someone's name, their likeness, you're writing books about them, and suddenly the agreements you make don't last. That's not good business. Not good business at all. So yeah, anytime we can expose bad business, I have no issue with that. As long as we know that it's bad business, I want everybody to know, stay away. You had some history with Abdullah the Butcher, Teddy. Let me just ask you, while we got a couple minutes here, was Abdullah for you? I know you had told me a story one time where you took your wife. Was it your wife to his house to have dinner? Is that who it was, or something? And he thought you were bringing in a side piece with you, maybe?
No. What it was, before I married my deceased wife, Tasha, my son Antoine's mother. I've only had two. Antoine's mother. So then I was dating Tasha, well, cheating. Anyway, so I took Tasha to Abdullah's house, okay? And so there's Herb. And so when we got to Abdullah's house, he looks up and he knows my wife, and he saw it wasn't her. And he says to me, "You can't do that, champ. You can't do that. You can't ride with a champ. Somebody will see you. You can't do that, champ." Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So he was trying to smarten me up to, "Yeah, man, you got to be kayfabe."
Herb Simmons, welcome into the room. You finally got in, huh?
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Of course, I didn't have to get in. I could have just sit here all night and listen to you guys.
I told him you had relapsed, Herb, and that's why he's having problems.
No, when you get to be my age, you just can't get these fingers to work right. But I'm telling you what, I feel like I've hit the top of the mountain now. I've done Briscoe and Bradshaw, and now I'm at the top of the mountain with Mac Davis and Teddy Long.
Oh, yeah, much better show than Briscoe and Bradshaw. Jeez.
Oh, wow. Oh, I can't wait to tell Bradshaw that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you imagine that big clothesline coming?
Oh, yes, he does.
I got to tell you, that to me would be a fun crossover, Teddy and I, with Gerald and JBL. I would love to have that crossover because, man, I can imagine the stories we would get out of that. But let's talk about the story of Abdullah the Butcher and the book. Can you kind of clue us into what all this hoopla is about?
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of hoopla, and I'm still waiting for the books. They were supposed to be delivered to St. Louis for FanFest last month, and I had fans that showed up there that was coming to purchase them and to meet Abby because he was there, and they could have got it autographed. And so, that whole ordeal, I got drug into it because Abby's a friend of mine, and whether what some people think of him or not, I don't care. He's been a friend to me since Bruiser Brody introduced me back in the early 80s. And I had them on my show, on my Sunday night show on YouTube, and interviewed Abby and Miss Malik when they were getting ready to come in. And they asked me if the gentleman who had written the book could join in. I said, sure, why not? He was going to come to St. Louis. He was going to be there with them. And so he joined in that night on the call, just like we're doing here. I mean, we're talking about it. I talked with Abby. I talked with Miss Malik. They were bragging about the job that he was doing. And he was bragging about how great they were to work with. And he was excited about coming to St. Louis. And he even said, man, I'd love to talk to you about doing your book. And I said, well, yeah, we'll talk. Everybody keeps telling me that I need to put pen to paper. And after 52 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought, well, I was going to wait and see what kind of job he did with Abby's book. And then I would talk to him. And so that whole process started falling apart there shortly after. I talked with Abby more or less and Miss Malik. They even sent me a copy of the contract. I have that with their signatures on it. Recently I offered Mr. Rushing that I would pay for a handwriting analysis because he claims that there was some forgery going on. And I said, the only thing is I'd want all of you, not just him, all three of them to take a polygraph test. Now we know polygraph tests aren't admissible, but it at least lets one's mind come to ease. Well, I got crickets after I did that, and of course, yeah, go ahead, Teddy.
If you can remember who was the guy that was writing the book? I run into one guy that I found out not to be so straight too. He was a guy that did Medusa's book.
No, this wasn't him. His name's Scott Rushing. I mean, I'll say it because his name's been out there, and I don't know anything about him. He may be the best guy that ever walked on a pair of legs. But I've talked to him on our show, on our interview. And then I've talked to him more or less through text messages. And I think maybe one or two phone calls we've had. He told me how he was basically brought into Fritz von Erich's stable when he was 10 years old. And that Fritz showed him the business, which I kind of red flagged that. Because the Fritz that I met a couple of times in St. Louis with Sam, Fritz didn't give me the impression back then that he was going to be smartening up a 9 or 10-year-old boy to the business. But again, it's his story. He gets to tell it the way he wants to. And so, one thing led to another. Miss Malik and Abby asked if I would accept the shipment of the books here. That way they didn't have to worry about having them on the plane and hauling them. And he said, well, I'm going to ship you 500 books. I said, oh, no, you're not, because you're not going to sell 500 books. He said, bring 40 or 50 of them with you, and we'll try to get rid of them. Well, the books have never arrived. And then I find out, well, the first book that came out, it was only 100 and some pages. And, man, I could write 100 pages on Abby myself. And so now I understand it's been corrected a little bit. I think somebody said it's a couple hundred pages now. But there was just a lot of these red flags. And I hated to be drug into it. But because of friends with Abby, I just wanted to I got fans that's still saying, hey, when can we get a book? I said, well, I don't know if you want to get a book right now.
Abby is Abby. He's not even getting any kind of revenue from this whatsoever, is he?
Well, that was the other part of the arrangements that I even made. There was, and this was from Mr. Rushing himself. There was $300 and some, and Miss Malik had sent me the PayPal, the 3 transactions, and it totaled like $335. I told Mr. Rushing I would pay you that money also if you, one, took a handwriting analysis and a polygraph test. I'll send you that $330 some, because that's what he claimed was royalties that they had been fronted. And I've got those 3 receipts that they sent me. And that was and I've heard him talk about that on a couple other podcasts that he's been on. And so, $300 some in royalty is not a lot if you've been selling, and he claims he's got a second printing of the book out already. So it tells me it's been
that's what it sounds like, yeah.
So where is all that money going to? So again, it's a sad thing, because like I said, I don't know the gentleman. He may be the greatest guy out there, but he just threw red flags up. He told me that he knew Lalani Kai. He told me he knew who else was it? Judy Martin. He was working on her book. He knew Barbara Goodish. I called Barbara. Barbara said, well, I just know him through Facebook. I called Lalani. I know him through Facebook. So to me, that's not being good friends, So those were other red flags.
Well, hopefully that all gets settled and Abby won't get screwed in the end. And that's the main thing. I hate seeing any of the guys getting screwed over like that. And anytime we were saying this before you got in here, anytime we can bring light to some people you may want to be aware of, I have no issue doing that because I don't want to see the business get to be where everybody has to be worried that somebody's going to screw them any more than they already do. So.
Well, as you two know, that this business it has had a bad rap for many years, and I don't want to be a part of that. I want to deal with people who are above board because I've tried to do that in all my career, and I think I've done a good job at that. So if I want to take face value, I go back to the Sam Muchnick made the deal with the gentleman who owned the Chase Park Plaza Hotel. They shook a hand on an airplane and had a honeymoon from 1959 to 1983. And that's the kind of relationship I like.
Real quick before we get you out of here, Herb, I did show this earlier. I want to show this again. I see that Herb Simmons is going into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame next year. It's well-deserved, Herb.
Yes, yes.
Well, I want to clarify, the locker room boys last month, we had a show going on. I had Tommy Wildfire Rich with us that night, and I'm sitting out in a meet and greet table with him. And my son, Jason, comes and gets me and says, "Dad, come on, you got to get in the locker room right away." And I'm thinking, there better not be nobody in my locker room fighting because after 52 years, I've never had that problem. And he said, "No, come on. I said, "No, I'm out here with Tommy." "No, come on." So I go back there, and as soon as I open the door, my wife is standing there on her walker, and I'm thinking, now this is unusual because she knows that it's sacred ground, even for her. And and all the boys are gathered around the doorway, and they break this news to me. And the story of the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame was Larry Matisek and myself and our Nick Rednar, your good friend.
Love Nick.
It was the brainchild of ours and a couple other gentlemen we brought in to help the first couple of inductions to that Hall of Fame. Larry always wanted that to be a Hall of Fame that meant something. And so we kind of said the legends, the Sam Muchnicks, the Johnny Valentines, the Luthez's, the Pat O'Connors, you name it, the Funks, the Briscoes. That was the people who put the butts in the seats in St. Louis. So we've always kept it that way. It's always been those who worked wrestling at the Chase, at the Kiel Auditorium, at the St. Louis Checkerdome. I didn't do that. I haven't been a worker. And so I told him, I said, I don't want to open up that can of worms because then next time somebody comes up that maybe had a couple of shows, says, "Hey, I want to be in the St. Louis Hall of Fame," then it causes me a headache. So I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to allow that.
I did hear through the grapevine that you didn't have a lot of say-so because, like you mentioned, your wife was in the back and she pretty much said, "You will do this." Is that true?
Well,
of course it is.
Yes, I was.
Of course that's true.
Well, you know the old saying, "Happy wife, happy life," and for 50 years we've been together. But as I was trying to explain my reasoning to the group, to the boys, I mean, out of the blue, it's just like, "Herb, shut up." And I looked at her. I thought, "Girl, I will send you to the moon."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, she's standing over there cooking supper.
You better be nice then, because if she's cooking dinner, you want to make sure you can eat what she serves.
Yeah, and she's got a knife in her hand.
That's
so
dangerous.
Be careful.
Well, Herb, congratulations for the Hall of Fame entry for next year, and also, man, we appreciate you stopping by. And I'm sorry you had so much trouble getting in here.
No problem. I appreciate it, and you guys do a fantastic job. I try to catch you all the time that I can, and I love it when I hear Teddy talking.
Yes. Well, Herb, you have a great night. Tell the wife we said hello, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, you guys have a happy 4th of July this weekend, Herb, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Teddy, let's get in. We do have a few questions I want to get in here. I want to go into the chat, make sure we're not, because we got some people in here. I want to make sure we get to them as well. Let's see. Pretty classy lady is in here with us. She's stopping by. Zach Minger is in here as well. Happy 4th of July. Let's see. What is this?
Thank you, Zach. Same to you and your family.
Let's see. Pretty classic lady. Mac, you know old folks need that pain medicine. Just kidding.
Better tell him again.
Let's see. Also, we have Joey77. Yo, Mac, holla player, Teddy Long.
Holla, player.
And let's see. What else do we have here? Salute to the panel. That's from LA Sports Live.
Well, thank you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Joey saying Teddy has the best dance moves.
Of course I do. I got them from my grandson.
Yes, you did. Hey, look here. We do have a few questions that I want to get in here before we close out. First of all, Adam from Facebook writes, Teddy, was the one-on-one with the Undertaker your idea or a writer's idea?
No, it was my idea. It really wasn't an idea. The way it happened, I told this story. We was in Madison Square Garden one night, and Vince came out and he was talking to Stephanie. I think she had went out and introduced somebody, and he was telling her about he wanted a little bit more emphasis on the name. When she introduced him, kind of give me that. And I just overheard it, and I didn't say a word, but I remembered it. And so when I went out that night to introduce the Undertaker, that's the first thing I remember. Vince wanted that high, input. And so I said, one-on-one with the Undertaker, and I come back by and he looks at me and he just thumbs up and I keep right on walking. But I came up, I did that myself.
He also asking the same question, and I don't know if you'll remember this. Do you remember the first time you used it, which you remember that, but do you remember who it was in the ring, what the situation was?
No, I don't.
I was about to say, I don't know how. That's just so many things like that. Just
yeah, man. I done put so many people in matches with the Undertaker. I can't remember all that. And Taker said it right. When Taker was talking, he says to me, "So every time you get pissed off at somebody, you put them with me."
Let's see. Logan Ball, not Logan Paul, but Logan Ball wants to know: have you ever been hit in the ring or a wrestling move applied where they actually hurt you?
I think one time Big Show it threw me out of the ring and he grabbed me and he didn't tell me and he didn't give me time to grab the second rope so I could break my fall. So I just went straight through and hit the ground, man. And
that's when Vince got pissed, right?
Yeah, that's when Vince got pissed. As I walked back, I think I hit my knee or something, but I couldn't even hardly walk. And he looked at me and he told me, he said, "Don't you ever let anybody throw you around like that again."
Do you know if he got on the Big Show about it?
No, I don't know what he did or not, because I went on back to the trainer's office so they could see what was wrong.
Let's see. John Roberts III saying, "Hey, Teddy and Mac." Hey, John, good to have you in here. I'm glad all you guys coming here each week. We certainly appreciate that. And if you will, share the link around. Our subscriber count keeps going up, and it's because you do this each and every week. You share it and you let people know that we're out there. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate that, because we don't get paid to come here. We just come here because we enjoy this. We like to stay in contact with the fans, and Teddy likes to answer your questions. So we have a good time doing this. All right. I like this question. I saw this earlier, Teddy. Sissy in Mississippi. Teddy, I've always heard stories about ring rats. Can you, I don't know where this is going to go. Can you explain why they call them that? And do you have any ring rat stories?
No, I don't have any ring rat stories.
Come on. You don't have
any? I really don't. I really don't, because back that time, you just couldn't be fooling around with the ring rats. You know what I'm saying?
Explain what a ring rat is first. So that
the guys named them ring rats, and these were the girls would come to the airport, pick the guys up. They didn't have to worry about no rental car. They drive them to the hotels.
Kind of like
then after the hotel, they take them to dinner, drive them wherever they needed to go. And some of them, even after the show, went back to the hotel with them and spent the night with them. So that's what a ring rat was.
I'm shocked. Have you heard any good ring rat stories? Maybe not you, but anything that you can remember somebody saying, "Man, you won't believe." I would imagine that was very common. I can just imagine when you're on the road, as much as these guys were, they probably had a girlfriend in every town.
Oh, of course, man. People pick you up right at the airport, man. You didn't have to worry about that. Back then, you needed that because you wasn't making a whole lot of money, so you couldn't afford rental cars and stuff. So those girls, those ring rats were a lot of help.
kind of like the rock and roll groupies. That
Herb
used to.
Simmons says to be careful about that question
Yeah,
if I got any ring rat stories.
Imagine why. LA Sports Live. Teddy, who was the toughest female wrestler you came across, and who do you think is the toughest of the bunch now? Low key, I think Tiffany Stratton is pretty strong and tough.
Well, the person I really liked, God rest her soul, was China. Thought she was really tough in the ring.
Who do you think today is that tough version?
I like Jade Cargill. I think she's that version, and I don't want to just give it to her because there's another person there too, that Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
She
Rhea's.
really impresses me, and don't forget, my baby mama, Nia Jax.
Oh yeah, well you can't forget her. You'll get in trouble. All right, let's see. We do have you got a couple more minutes if you want to get in some questions here. We left off a few name associations last week. I want to get to them today since we have a little bit of time. And they're interesting because some of these I'm not even sure if you'll remember. Big Daddy V. Now, I know you remember him. Any stories about Big Daddy V?
Oh, did I ever tell you the story about I sold him some Viagra?
Oh,
And
keep telling that story.
And that was the first time, he had any Viagra. So the next thing I know, he takes it, and I mean, there's no girl around. Why would you take Viagra and there's no girl? So he takes it in the locker room. So and about 20 minutes after that, I come by him and he looks at me and he calls me, "Hey, come here." And I swear this is a true story. And he says, "You know what? I looked down at my shit and I said, 'Who is this? Where did this come from?'" I swear that's a true. He says, "I look down at I'm like, who's this belong to?" Yeah, that's a true story, man.
Oh God, that's hilarious. A pretty classic lady finds that funny. Let's see. Curtly Man's in here. Hey, Curtly Man, good to see you. Hey, Teddy and Mac, I got a question. How was it working with Hornswoggle?
Oh, I had a good time with him. He was really entertaining and funny, so he was easy to work with because I could do stuff with him that would make him laugh and make me be real serious. So me and Hornswoggle, we did a lot of funny, a lot of good stuff.
Let's see, another one of those names, Tajiri. Any memories about Tajiri?
Just a great guy. I mean, that's always had a great attitude, nice to work with and everything, and that's about it.
Now,
what did Tajiri do? I think he fooled everybody and told them he couldn't drive or something, and then they found out he could drive. He had guys driving him around, then he got busted.
I imagine driving. I imagine the heat he took for that, especially the people he rode with.
Oh, brother.
I bet he drove every day after that.
Every night, too.
Yeah, man. Tatanka.
Another great guy I worked with, man. Tatanka. Yeah. Super nice.
And the last one on the list we have here is Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson, yeah, she's very entertaining. That was Billy Kidman's wife, and I had a chance to work with them. At once, she was married to him, but I remember a story about her one time, man, and I don't know, Billy, I love him to death, man, but you got a wife like Tori Wilson, man, you got to be a little nicer. And he left her, at an arena in Detroit. I think we're in Michigan somewhere, and she had no ride, man, so somebody gave her a ride. I don't know who it is, but guys,
I can't imagine she had a hard time finding a ride.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you leave Tori Wilson?
I don't know how you do that. I would be the first one in the car. I'd make sure she was there.
Yeah.
The meltdown. Brian is in here. Happy 4th, guys, and happy 4th to you too, Brian. Good to see you in here. And also, let's see, John Roberts. He might be our last one in here for the night. What was it like being a ref in one of Sting's matches?
Just like any other one, man. They all, they're not all the same, but I mean, basically, you're running the same course. But Sting was always a nice guy. He was a great guy to work with too.
Was Sting, he always came across, and everything we see him in afterwards, he comes across, like you say, a really nice guy. When he first started, though, in WCW, he had a little bit more of a wild side about him, didn't he? And then he calmed down. Is that right?
Well, he had been working with him and Ultimate Warrior, and they had that wild and crazy gimmick, and when they were working for Bill Watts down there, so they had to kind of bring him out of that.
Yeah, Sting, for me, when I was growing up, when people ask me who was my favorite champion of my time, I like a lot of champions. I like Dusty Rhodes. I like Ric Flair. But now I would go back and watch older shows because that's just who I am. So that's the reason I say I like these guys. But during my 20s, I guess it was late teens, in the early 20s, maybe, Sting was on fire. And Sting was the guy, man. Everything he did, man, I would just tune into anything Sting did. So a lot of times he gets overlooked for being one of the greatest champions. But during my lifetime, he really was one of the greatest champions that I remember. His matches were always exciting. The storylines were always well done. There was a lot of activity in those matches as far as stories go. And Teddy, you know what I'm talking about. He just, it's different now because they rush things, but back then they could take their time telling stories, and it was
you had to take your
watch.
time back then because you had to draw money.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Though. So, but you know, with so much going on now, you know what I mean. It ain't a whole lot you have to do.
No, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Joey 77. Teddy, did you enjoy your time as general manager?
I enjoyed my time. Yes, I did. And in fact, anything that I ever done, I enjoyed my time. I had fun with managing. When I was a good guy, I had fun managing when I was a heel. And when I went to GM, I had fun with that. And that's how you're supposed to do. That's how you last so long. You make your job fun. And, you know, you get out, you do it right, especially you go walk back through that curtain and Vince McMahon is standing up complimenting you. That tells you something right there. And that's good, too, because that makes you want to really work and do your job. If you're making Vince happy, and that's all I ever wanted to do was make him happy. I didn't give a shit about none of the rest of them.
John Roberts III saying 45-minute draw, talking about Sting with Ric Flair, Clash of Champions. I mean, the Clash of Champions shows, too, by the way, those were free on TBS. They were great shows to watch. I missed that. I felt like when AEW started that maybe we'd get back to that kind of feel and era of wrestling, and then it kind of went off track after a while, unfortunately. But there was a sure sign that maybe it could come back. Unfortunately, we just won't have that. Teddy, we are out of time. We're actually a little bit over, and I appreciate everybody sticking along with us, but we got kind of a late start here, so we wanted to pop in and leave it a little bit longer if we could. Teddy, anything coming up for you that we need to talk about?
No, everything's kind of on the quiet side for me, and I'm glad. Me and Rufus are going to have ourselves a good time tomorrow, 4th of July, so I'm thinking about maybe getting him a steak or something. Gotta get him a treat.
Damn, your dog's going to eat better than I do.
He's all I got.
I tell you one thing that I've been dying for, and here's the 4th of July weekend, and you talk about barbecues and everybody having a good time. We went by on the way back when Teddy and I were coming back from Jacksonville on a recent trip. We went to a Buc-ee's, and they had this, what do you call that damn beef barbecue, Teddy? It's not shredded barbecue. It's the good piece of meat of barbecue. What am I thinking of, Teddy?
I don't eat barbecue, so I don't know.
Oh, God. Brisket. Yes, they had brisket sandwiches. Oh my God. I would drive, maybe because I have to go meet Teddy next week. Hopefully there's a Buc-ee's nearby and I'll go find me one of those brisket sandwiches. And if you've never had one and there's a Buc-ee's around you, I promise you that is the best brisket I have ever had. My neighbor makes a great biscuit, but this one, all right, Teddy, I'm out of here. I got to go get my cats in because, you know, they start shooting fireworks and everybody gets crazy. I wanted
to mention this too before we go too. I made a comment earlier, you know, that I was cared just about making Vince happy, and I didn't give a shit about the rest of them. And I don't mean everybody. Those that I didn't give a shit about was the people that I knew didn't give a shit about me. So that's who I'm talking about.
Yep. And pretty classy lady. Thank you, Brisket. She was trying to help us out. I appreciate that. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I can taste it in my mouth right now, but I couldn't think of the name. All right, Teddy, we've got to pick a name for this week. One of the questions. Who do you want to choose this week?
What was the gentleman there asked a question earlier about ref or something? There was a question up there earlier about Vince. Who came up with the one-on-one with the Undertaker?
One-on-one with the Undertaker. Yeah, that was Adam from Facebook. All right. So Adam, that is you win tonight. Yeah, one-on-one with the Undertaker. Yeah, that's him. Adam, just reach out to me. I think I may already have your information, but send it to me just to be safe, and then we'll get that T-shirt out to you. And make sure you take a picture of it and send it to us. We'll put it up on the page, just like anybody else that does so. All right, I'm out of here. I'm about to sweat to death. This room, for whatever reason, is killing me tonight.
So now you're on the alcohol and the pills.
No. I haven't taken. Thank goodness I haven't taken any of the those pain pills in the last day and a half now because I've been trying to get myself off of them. Like I say, I don't like them. So
I got you. All right.
I'm out of here. By the way, JBL and Gerald Briscoe may not like me right now, but I still think it would be a fun show for us to have a crossover because I can just imagine the stories.
Well, we might ought to talk to him about that.
I think we should do that. And hey, y'all do the same thing. Send them a message. Tell them we're talking about them, that we think we need to do a crossover show. All right, Kenny, I'm out of here. Have a fantastic 4th of July, my friend.
Holla, players.
We'll see you.